You guys ready? Yeah? Okay. Good evening, everybody. This is a meeting of the Tinton Falls Borough Council being held on October 25th, 2022. This meeting is hereby called to order. Would the clerk please read the open public meeting statement?
Pursuant to Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by posting on the bulletin board at Borough Hall and by notification to the Asbury Park Press, the Newark Star Ledger, and the New Coaster at least 48 hours prior to the meeting, and filing with the Borough Clerk all on January 4th, 2022.
Thanks. May I ask the clerk to call the roll, please?
Mrs. Clay?
Here.
Dr. Dobrin?
Here.
Mr. Manginelli?
Here.
Mr. Nessie?
Here.
Ms. Buckley?
Here. At this time, I'd like to invite everyone to join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There are no minutes for approval this evening, so we're going to move into reports. And Mr. Neff, our engineer, is not here this evening, so we'll start with Mr. Fallon, our CFO.
Thank you. Good evening. Just a couple things to report on tonight. I recently received the 2022 Best Practices Inventory from the state. The administrator and I will complete that inventory. It's due by November 10th. And as required, I will report the results at the November 22nd council meeting.
Okay.
Also this week, I will be closing on the issuance of $9,952,000 in bond anticipation notes. $3,952,000 of these notes were sold by public bid at an interest rate of 3.55%, and $6 million were sold internally to the Borough of Tinton Falls at 2.5%. So considering the current market rate, I was pretty satisfied with those results.
Okay.
The 2023 budget process is now underway. Departmental budget requests have been distributed, and departmental budget hearings have been scheduled for Monday, November 21st, and Tuesday, November 22nd. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fallon. Mr. Tarafenko, RBA.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to reiterate the successful community day we had. We had 70+ vendors and sponsors, and the appropriate vendors and sponsors that were there that met the requirements are going to be also listed in our annual calendar that's going to go out to the community. Our DPW folks are working on it as we speak. The 28th of the month, this Friday, from 6:30 to 9, we have Trunk or Treat over at Sycamore Park. So I encourage everyone to participate in that. It should be a fun-filled event. I talked to Sherry, and I believe we have about 28 vehicles, plus the police and DPW are kind of have a costume face-off, if you will, so that should be fun. And the 29th, Saturday, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., we're participating in the DEA National Take Back. So any citizens who have prescriptions that they need to dispose of, please bring them into the police department. They'll have receptacles here that they'll accept them from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Mayor Perillo, for your report.
I have no report for tonight. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Stark, your Director of Law.
I have no report for tonight. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Hutchinson, our Clerk.
I have no report tonight. Thank you.
All right, moving right along. Council reports, and we'll start Mrs. Clay.
Thank you, Council President. I wanted to share that this past Sunday, I attended Osprey Fest, and it was an excellent event. Despite the threat of bad weather, the turnout was excellent. There were students there from Monmouth Regional, and that's always wonderful. I like to judge an event sometimes by the participation of our stakeholders. So that was great to see. Last night we had our Green Team meeting. That's moving along. And we have another meeting scheduled for December. And lastly, If you've been to the website, you might have seen that there's a section there for cannabis, and there's a sample application and other instructions listed there as well. So if anybody's interested, they can take a look at that. Thanks.
Thank you, Mrs. Clay. Dr. Dobrin, for your report.
Thank you. Well, tonight, the mayor's ordinance for final consideration to fund improvements to the borough's library will be presented. So I'm looking forward to seeing this project begin if there's a favorable approval by the council, of course. I'm pleased tonight that the Tinton Falls Library Association's president, Rosemary Koch, is here, as well as many of her board members, to support this ordinance. So we're looking forward to hearing about it tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dobrin.
No report tonight, Council President.
Duke. Mr. Nessie, for your report.
Thank you, Council President, and good evening, everybody. Next planning board meeting will be here tomorrow night, 7 p.m. The board will be hearing an application from the Poorhouse Restaurant on Shrewsbury Avenue for a preliminary and major final site plan for patio addition and bathroom expansion. There's also resolutions to be passed, including Stavola subdivision and the RWJ preliminary and major final site plan. The Chicken Advisory Board meetings will now be held through Zoom. Any in-person meetings, the Chicken Advisory Board chairwoman will post any meeting changes on the borough website or Facebook. The board is working hard on having guest speakers come to our future meetings to discuss topics such as building a coop, choosing a breed, and overall caring for chickens. I have some updates from our recreation departments. Winter basketball registration will take place beginning on Friday, October 28th for boys and girls in kindergarten through grade 8. The program will begin in December and run through early March. Biddy basketball is for our kindergarten and first grade. Ball and team play is for boys and girls in grade 2 through grade 8. Register through Tinton Falls Community Pass and on the borough website. The Tinton Falls Wrestling Program registration will also start on Friday, October 28th for Tinton Falls resident children on Tinton Falls Community Pass. Wrestling is for children kindergarten through grade 5 and will begin November 8th through the end of February. Become a mat rat, learn some great skills, and participate in matches and join the team. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Nessie. And for my report, yes, Osprey Fest was this past Sunday. Thank you for, Ellen, I see you're in the crowd, you joined. This was a collaborative effort between the Tinton Falls Environmental Commission, the Monmouth Regional High School Environmental Club. I really need to say a huge kudos to their advisor, Michael Lee, who's also on our Historic Commission, and Caitlin and Olivia, the club co-presidents. They did the lion's share of the promotional materials. They had fantastic ideas. Also want to thank Sherry from our recreation department for some great ideas as to the games to do on the actual day, and also for Mark and Andy in our DPW. They were instrumental and did most of the build, as well as the nest installation. So if you haven't been driving through Riverdale West Avenue, the actual park is on the right-hand side. If you, on the Green Acres on the left, there's just a large open field, and now you see a gigantic osprey nest towards the back, very near the lookout point if you've ever been back there. So this, having an Osprey Fest or a kickoff event was part of the requirement to get the rest of the grant funding. We've gotten 1/3. The second third comes when the project is completed. There's a progress report that's due October 31st, which we submitted today, and ANJAC was in attendance at our event on Sunday. They've broadcast it on their social media channels, and they were very happy about that. So it's the first osprey nest project that they've ever had to approve for this grant. So that was kind of cool. And it was a great afternoon. Our next Tinton Falls Environmental Commission meeting is this Thursday at 7:30 at the Crawford House or on WebEx. It's a hybrid meeting. And I think that concludes my report this evening. Now, there are no ordinances for introduction, so we're going to move on to ordinances for final consideration. We will hold a public hearing on the one ordinance for final consideration, with comments being limited to 3 minutes, and comments may only pertain to this ordinance. May I ask the clerk to read the title of the ordinance?
2022-1496, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $495,000 for improvements to the Borough Library.
Thank you. May I have a motion to open the public discussion?
So moved.
On this? Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone from the public that would like to comment on this particular ordinance? Please remember to state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. Brian Perry, 29 Columbia Drive, and I'm the Vice President of the Library Association. And just want to reiterate again our thanks and our gratitude for Council and Mayor and Administration in moving the project forward. It's been a long time coming. Very happy that the state has granted us the matching funds that we've requested, and we're looking forward to moving forward very soon.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perry. Is there anyone else? All right. May I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any council members that would like to comment on this ordinance? All right. May I have a motion for adoption?
Motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Second, Mr. Manginelli, thank you. May I have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Clay?
Yes.
Dr. Dobrin?
Yes.
Mr. Manginelli?
Yes.
Mr. Nessie?
Yes.
Ms. Buckley?
Yes. Motion's approved. Now we'll move on to our open public discussion. May I have a motion to open the public discussion?
Motion.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This is the time the public may comment on any topic of your choice. Please state your name and address for the record and limit your comments to 3 minutes. At this time, I'd like to ask the clerk if any public comments were submitted prior to the meeting.
There were none.
All right. Is there anyone in the room that would like to comment this evening?
Good evening, Ellen Goldberg, 90 Glenwood Drive. This thing's a
Good
little
evening.
too short for me. I want to say thank you very much to all the council members and the mayor for passing the ordinance to help our library, because obviously the people who are here tonight are the ones who feel the strongest, but there are many people in this community who feel strongly about the fact that we need our library back and reopened. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I also want to say thank you so much to Mrs. Clay and Ms. Buckley for your just unending energy, your enthusiasm. You're at everything. You are such great role models for the public. You're out there, you're seen, your involvement. I just can't thank you enough for all that you do. Community Day, being there, coming out to the events, being such a great part of the green team and driving that. And then our Osprey Fest was just adorable. The kids had a great time. I was very impressed with how many parents and kids came out on such a dreary day. So I really wanted to say thank you so much and appreciate. Dr. Dobrin, thank you for leading the charge in helping the library and being there, to support us as well. And that's it. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Ms. Goldberg. Are there any members of the public that would like to comment? Okay, hearing none, may I have a motion to close the public discussion?
Motion.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Miscellaneous business. Does any member of council have anything to add that they didn't during reports? All right, seeing none, now we'll move on to the consent agenda. Are there any items any member of council would like to be removed and voted on separately? All right, hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion.
I heard Mrs. Clay first. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Dobrin. May I have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Clay?
Yes.
Dr. Dobrin?
Yes.
Mr. Manginelli?
Yes.
Mr. Nessie?
Yes.
Ms. Buckley?
Yes. At this time, I'd like to ask the Director of Law to read the executive session resolution.
This resolution is for purposes of entering into executive session, which is a confidential session of the council. Whereas the Open Public Meetings Act provides that the Borough Council may go into executive session to discuss matters that may be confidential or listed pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12, and whereas it is recommended by the Director of Law that the Borough Council go into executive session to discuss the matters set forth hereinafter which are permissible for discussion in executive session. Now therefore, be it resolved by the Borough Council of the Borough of Tinton Falls that the council shall go into executive session to discuss the following items. There's only one item on the list tonight, that is contract negotiations and a discussion about the proposed contract with RWJ. And for the public's edification, I'm confident there will not be action taken after you come out of executive session, although you're all welcome to stay here if you want for us to close out the meeting. So we will be coming back for that. That is the resolution.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the resolution?
Motion.
I heard Mr. Nessie first, and second,
Second.
Dr. Dobrin. May I have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Clay?
Yes.
Dr. Dobrin?
Yes.
Mr. Manginelli?
Yes.
Mr. Nessie?
Yes.
Ms. Buckley?
Yes. All right. See y'all when we're done.